All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everybody, to Mindful Mornings. This is our final session. It's hard to believe it's been 5 weeks covering all of the pillars of performance and health. Today, we are going to dive a little bit deeper into our last pillar, recovery. But before we start, let's just take a moment to take some time to get ourselves into one common space that we're holding here virtually this morning. So just allow yourself to settle into the space that you're in right now, and trying to put away the to-do list for a moment. Allow the calendar just to be the calendar as opposed to certain things and tasks that need to be completed today. Recognizing the productivity and performance that you've done throughout the week, but also recognizing the importance of this particular time to just be. And start to bring your awareness to your own personal space, taking a moment to check in with your body, seeing how you feel physically. You may notice tension or tightness in the shoulders or back, or you may notice that you feel good, you feel loose, you feel ready to conquer the day. Whichever you feel, positive and or negative, try not to label it, just try to notice what you're feeling. Begin to tune into your mind, noticing your thoughts without labeling, without any judgment or reactivity to your thoughts, just simply noticing, becoming the observer of where your thoughts are. Bringing that awareness down into your breath without changing your breath, just noticing where the breath is. It may feel shallow or deep. It may feel short or long. It may feel slow or fast. Just noticing what the breath feels like in this particular moment. And as a group this morning, let's take one purposeful inhale in through our nose, expand our diaphragm, fill up our lungs, and just pause momentarily before you exhale through the mouth in a controlled fashion, nice and slow, releasing any physical tension, any stress or anxiety on the mind, any discomfort on the heart. And pay close attention to how easily the next inhale comes, utilizing that as your anchor as we rest here quietly. If you've become distracted at all by a wandering thought or sound in the environment, just gently recognize and bring your focus and awareness back to your respiration cycles. Let's take another nice slow inhale through the nose. Pause at the top. And as you exhale, just welcome some movement back into the body, rolling your wrists and ankles, wiggling your fingers and toes, and just allowing yourself to come back to our space.
Thank you, Ford.
You're welcome. Thank you. So just as a quick review on our fifth pillar, recovery. In our last session, we talked about how complex sleep is and its effect on virtually every system in our body. We know that it's connected with elements of cognitive, physical, and emotional health. And Rita mentioned a researcher, prominent researcher in the world, Matt Walker, and he has a famous quote that we find interesting and kind of puts a bow around the whole recovery and sleep pillar. He says, lack of sleep downregulates our ability to do everything. And that's such a simple way to think about how we perform, how we are productive or not. If we lack sleep, we're going to downregulate our ability to do everything. And when you take it one step further, there is a technical term known as sleep wake homeostasis. And homeostasis is essentially a thermostat within the body. If our body gets too warm, we start to sweat. If our body gets too cold, we start to shiver. But we have sleep wake homeostasis as well. And this term describes what most of us experience. The longer we are awake, the more we feel the need to sleep. So the circadian alerting system is part of our biological clock, and our biological clock lasts roughly 24 hours, and it plays a very important role with several biological functions, including sleep. And we know that light exposure is the biggest influence on our circadian rhythm, which helps to encourage wakefulness during the day and sleepiness at night.
Yeah, and our circadian rhythm really takes its cues from the light of the sun, but even more specifically than that, the color that's emitted from the light of the sun. As the sun journeys from sunrise to sunset, every day it emits the full spectrum of color, like starting at sunrise to about early afternoon, around 1 o'clock or so. The sun is emitting, more blue light, like violet, indigo, blue light. And as it goes into mid-afternoon, it changes to greens and yellows, or I should say yellows and greens. And then as we transition into, late afternoon and into sunset, those colors fade into red and orange light. And this is important because the blue light in the morning triggers the release of cortisol in our body, which kind of wakes us up and gives us energy and just, helps us get going. And then as we go into the red and orange lights at sunset, kind of signals the suppression of cortisol and the slow release of melatonin for sleep. So we are biologically wired, like Ford said, to be active and productive during the day and to rest and recover at night. And so exposing ourselves to sunlight throughout the day, particularly in the morning and in the evening, it's a big assistance to setting a healthy circadian rhythm. the sooner in the morning, if you can get out in the morning, at least within an hour from waking up, and expose yourself to that blue light in the morning, that really is the key to setting that circadian rhythm throughout the day. And then the more you can go outside and just expose yourself to light at various points during the day, it just, is more cues for your circadian rhythm. But one thing to keep in mind, exposure to blue light in the evening interferes with that process, and all of our devices emit blue light. So if that's why you can't just close your computer or turn off the TV and go to bed, and you're lying there, and the cortisol has to start to come down and the melatonin has to come up, and that process, it takes at least 30 minutes. So if you can just shut down your blue light 30 minutes before you go to sleep, you'll probably have, you won't toss and turn as much. And one more thing we want to mention in regard to the value of sleep is that sleep is the foundation upon which all of our cognitive resources are built. We've all heard the phrase, "Why don't you sleep on it?" Well, it turns out that's really good advice, because sleep allows our brain to organize and correlate and consolidate new information and experiences. So whether declarative or procedural, any skill, any knowledge, anything that we want to master is being solidified and made durable in our brain and our body while we sleep. So I don't think there's any other activity that we engage in that delivers so many benefits with so little effort than sleep does.
And as we wrap up our final session, a quick review on the pillars of performance and health: respiration, hydration, nutrition, movement, and recovery. And of course, we've taken time throughout the week to break down each pillar individually, but we want to let you all know that the importance of each pillar is dependent upon the other pillar. There's a lot of interdependence, a lot of synergy that exists. It's just like a well choreographed dance. When one step changes, everything changes. And that's ideally why we've built in all of these consumption logs for you. You start to see with mindfulness, with awareness, if you change just one of these pillars, the next one starts to fall into place, and so on and so forth. So that does conclude our Mindful Morning series. Thank you for joining us on the journey through optimal performance, health, and well-being. If anybody has any specific questions, feel free to hang on. If not, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next time.